I'm Andrew Phillips, and I'm the founder and editor-in-chief of EM Coach. And this product is the only one out there. Well, it's the only core member benefit for you. And in terms of board review materials and for the written boards, we have a combination of questions, textbook, and lectures, and is the only one out there with artificial intelligence. I'm going to walk you through what your residents see and then what you see and some of the features so you can make the most out of this. Let me go ahead and share the screen. And I'm going to show you the resident view first, because I think the assignment side is going to make more sense in terms of how you create those assignments if you see what they see first. So what you're looking at right now is Virginia Apgar's homepage. This is what she would see on her computer. Basically, for the residents, what they drive is up top, and then all the assignments you would do are down here. You can see if they can see delinquent assignments and those things they've already done. They can launch their AI, and they can still go manually if they wish into questions and textbook and lectures. They can choose which type of questions, timed or untimed, which topic they want. They can choose correct and previously incorrect, just kind of standard out there. While I'm on it, I want to make a big plug for the mini mock exam. So this is a brand new test, all new questions. We've tested them as well, and we'll be doing a mass release of the outcomes in terms of national percentiles and such on February 1st. If your program hasn't taken it yet and you still want the results after February 1st, just let us know. Shoot us an email down here, support@emcoach.org. We're happy to send that out. And the reason we've been holding off a little bit on the sending out the mass information on percentiles is we want to get a good solid base of what's out there. A little over 100 programs so far already, though, are represented on the mini mock. So if you haven't already, join your colleagues. It's a very, very helpful test. 100 questions gives you a snapshot of how everyone is doing, and you can go into that test and look at the responses and see how what you can help people on what they're missing. So that's the mini mock. Want to make sure I have a plug about that. The residents, of course, can look at their prior sessions and can open that up as well. So let me jump into what an assignment looks like, because one of the main features of EM Coach is the ability for you to make very quick assignments and puts everything in one place for your residents. So it looks like Virginia's behind on this one. She was assigned a combination of some textbook readings, some lectures, and some questions. Now, previously, the residents were unable to jump between the textbook and the questions and such because we were trying to make the questions more of a quiz. By very popular demand, we have changed that so you can jump back and forth. So the residents are not quarantined, if you will, to just questions or lectures or textbook. They can jump around. While we're inside here, let me show you a few of the particular features. So you'll see on the side here this bookmark, and you see it reflected over here as well. If you select a few of these to bookmark, later on when you go to textbook, I'm going to jump out of the assignment for a second. You can up in here show bookmarked only, and it'll create a custom textbook for you of just those areas that you have previously bookmarked. So going back to that test, we have our lectures here. Now you can increase your speed if you like. There's 1.5x up to on that one. And it's a favorite among the residents. Although I will say our lectures are very condensed. And so whereas I have heard from a lot of residents that they generally prefer to watch things at 1.5 or 2x, but tend not to do that to our lectures because they are very, very quick. Then inside questions here, let's jump into one of these. I'm going to pick something. You can highlight. You can change the color. You can strike through if you wish as well. And then one of my favorite features of this, besides the fact things blow up here, is at the bottom, there's a C-related textbook section and C-related lecture section. So throughout this entire platform, you'll see that blended learning is a very, very central feature. So let's say the resident gets down to the bottom of the question. They think, wow, you know, I still have difficulty with a, looks like thickened pylorus, right? So, oops. Pyloric stenosis. So let's say the resident still has difficulty with that. They can click on this tab here for C-related textbook section. It pulls up a new tab, so you still have your assignment. You haven't lost anything. And now it takes them to the section specific to that particular topic. They can bookmark it if they want to come back to it. But let's say, because I'm sure very few people have ever heard this concern, that, well, I'm a visual learner, I'm an auditory learner, I'm a question learner. So we have all of that covered. If someone feels like questions are not the best way for them to learn, No problem. They can click on the lecture button and they can get the same information through a lecture. If they want, they can bookmark it. And the same thing, you can come to that later. If you go to lectures here, bookmark only, and now you can create, I didn't bookmark, oh, there we go, some others. You can create a custom playlist of the things that you want to listen to. You can listen to it in audio only, and all this is reflected back in the mobile app. So let's say that they watched a video, it's a slow, I'm not on a shift, so I don't mind saying keyword sort of shift. And so watching the video late at night, say, and then they're headed home. You don't want to be watching the video on the way back. On the app, you can open it up and just listen to the audio portion, and it will know where you have been in terms of which section you've been listening to, and it keeps track of the new and previously listened to sections. Now, these lectures, I should point out, because they're so condensed, you'll see this one, for example, looks like all of infectious esophagitis is only 1 minute. Down here on cervical disease is about 1 minute as well. So these are chopped up into very, very short piecemeal segments. The lectures in general are approximately an hour, 55 minutes to an hour long each, but they are, because they're condensed, they're not really designed to listen to start to finish. They're just so much information, minds are going to wander, and it really is designed to be used as a part of a complete complement of the questions and the textbook and lectures. Certainly you can watch it if you want, start to finish. You can go to lectures here, and you can start from the top and watch all the way down on the OB-GYN lecture, but I recommend splitting it up a little bit. So we still have inside our assignment here. We can move on to the next question, and we'll run through at the end. You submit your assignment. You can see on your analytics, this is still on the learner side, what your mean is, what the national mean is. You can do a year to date or month to date. You can see your cumulative metrics. This is all standard stuff that we provide and most other platforms do as well. So that is the learner home. Of note, one of the largest requests we've had is the ability to do assignments on the mobile app. So currently, residents are able to do questions and watch lectures on both the iOS and Android apps if they create them. The assignments are not at the moment available on mobile apps. We're actively coding those and actually already in the QA portion of that. So definitely by Cord this year, there will be full app parity. So all of the assignments can be done on the mobile apps. That will include the textbook with it. And we'll be loading the AI onto that as well so that they can create AI assignments or AI sessions on their own on the mobile app. So I know that's been a big concern of the residents. We've been working on it. It's been a big lift, but it is coming very, very soon. So now that you've seen what the residents see and some of the inner workings of how that's laid out, let me go to what makes this so powerful for you as faculty. This is your homepage. You'll see at the top assignments, program stats, and then you can switch to the learner home. You can toggle back and forth here, and that's how in your account you can see what your residents see. I'm going to toggle back to instructor home. And let's jump into the active assignments. So you can look at this in real time to see how people are doing. So let's say, looks like this is due on the 21st. And so you can see which learners have not completed it. You can send a reminder email to complete it. This is laid out in the corner here what the topic is, and then what the section is and what was assigned. So in this case, it was all questions, but you'll also see here if you, let me go back one maybe. And you can see, let me pick a different one that has, here we go, different options here. Oh, all right, bad example. So this one still only has questions in it, but you can see if you have a textbook assignment with that as well. I just need to pick an assignment where we did that. And there we go. So there's a textbook, here's the lecture, and then there are 2 questions here on hernias. Now, you can do just-in-time teaching and click on view questions, and you'll see what people's responses were, and you can pull up all of our media items and use that as part of your explanation to folks. You can, if you make an assignment to all of your class or all of your classes, you can look at where people are having the biggest issues and go over that as a group. You can see your high and low scores. You can see the total time that they spent and total time they should have spent. So 14 minutes were assigned, and the mean time spent on this assignment was only 1 minute. Granted, again, this is a playground account, so that's not real, but you can see if they did not watch the total amount of lecture that you assigned. You can also, this download stats button, you can hit and it will show you, I already pulled this down for time's sake. Here's an example where it shows if they submitted it, if the assignment, the total time they spent on it. You can get all the information for everybody who was assigned all those tasks. So with that, let's go to creating a new assignment. You can either get there from here, or I'm going to come back to your home, just so we can kind of stay grounded on the platform here. So again, this is when you first log in, this is what you'll see. You can just click on the coach to create an assignment. And at the top here, you can decide if you want to do group or individual. So I went to Virginia. Let's say in a lot of programs, for example, for their remedial learners, some folks will decide that they want to do individual assignments for individual people. Some groups have a remedial learning plan group and will want to create the same assignment for a group of individuals. So if that's the case, you can click on here and you can pick all the individuals to whom you want to make that assignment. For simplicity here, I'm going to just go with Virginia Apgar. You can pick when you want it to be due. And now comes the part that really saves you a lot of time. There are 3 routes that you can take for an assignment. There's a custom build. I'm going to start from right to left here. There's a custom build option. Here we go. Where you can go through, and this is the more tedious route, but you can pick exactly what you want. You can do previously assigned, sorry, not previously assigned, or any of them. You can pick your age group. You can pick whether you want it to be a timed exam or not. And we're starting here on questions. So let's say I pick, I don't know, 2 questions from vaginal diseases. You can move on to textbooks. And from that, let's say I want to do just a textbook reading on vaginal disease. And then you can move on to the lecture, and just to mix it up here, we can do toxidromes. And you'll see that on the right-hand side here, kind of like on Amazon or Walmart, this is like a checkout card. So you can see the topic, and then you can see what you assigned. And then you can change the name if you like, and then you can assign it. It still shows you when it's due, when it's starting, when it's due, and just a reminder of who you've sent it to. Now, let's say, for example, that no, we want to go with the artificial intelligence. So this one, what it does is, depending on which cohort you have selected, here we go. Depending on which cohort you have selected, it will base its assignment with a combination of questions, textbook, and lectures for that particular group. So if you pick an individual, it's going to commit to that individual's weakest areas and spaced repetition to make sure that that individual is getting a full cycle of the various topics. If you apply to the PGY1 class, it's going to look at the PGY1 class as a whole, and the same thing for a class if you're looking at all of your residency program. If you don't want to do all those components, the questions, the textbook, and lectures, simply uncheck it. Now, a lot of folks are using foundations of EM, and this makes your life so incredibly easier, and the residents as well, for many reasons. I think, let me show you how this works. And yeah, I think I understand why this is becoming a very popular route to go for foundations. So foundations has certain topics, right, that are set up and divided however you want to do it in terms of timing. There's foundations 1 and foundations 2, and the frameworks associated with each of those units. So within those, there are cases that people, right, will go over, I was going to say during conference in person, right, but during your Zoom sessions and such during conference. And then it's basically a flipped classroom that most people use it as, with assigned lectures and readings and some practice questions before everyone meeting up. When you're doing just the general foundations, the assignments take you to different websites, different lectures, and there are questions with other question banks that are pre-made, that are designed to go with that particular topic. Because EM Coach has a custom textbook and a custom set of lectures and the questions all around these same topics, so it's all based on the model of EM, the residents don't have to go to different websites to complete all the different portions of foundations. We cover, because we've been communicating extensively with foundations, and Chris and I have been keeping up to make sure that EM Coach is matching what foundations is setting up. So all of those topics for a given unit are in EM Coach, packaged into one, the lecture and the textbook readings and the questions. So all you have to do is pick which foundation. So foundation 1, you pick your unit, GI1, top of the list here. And if you want to do just frameworks, you can do that. You click next, and you're done. That's the whole thing for foundations. You pick who you want to assign it to, when you want it to, and then which foundations unit. And you get the questions and the textbook and the lectures all from that individual unit going out. Now down here is the paired framework. If you want to apply that as well, if you don't, just uncheck it. Let's say that you still want the residents to be doing, you prefer the residents to be doing the reading off of, say, Tintinalli's or Rosen's instead of our textbook. Totally understand that. Our textbook is not a replacement for Rosen's or Tintinalli's. All you do is uncheck that. And the questions that are assigned and the lectures that are assigned match precisely those units that are part of that foundations unit. Another thing I want to point out about the questions is that with other Q banks, it's a canned test of, okay, these are the 15 questions that go with this particular unit. We have a smart series of questions or a smart assignment here such that different programs will receive different sets of questions based on their specific program's activity. So rather than a canned set of questions for a particular foundations unit, our system will take the topics that are inside that foundations unit and look and see which questions you've already assigned in prior instances, take those questions out of the equation, look for those that have not been previously assigned, and then runs through and looks to see which questions have been have had the fewest residents already take them on their own in their own setting. Because every program has those 2 or 3 residents, right, who have done like all 2,000 questions or have done 1,000 of the questions, right? So we look for the questions that have been least done by anyone in the program, and that's what we put into the the test that comes out with that particular foundations unit. So program A is going to have a different foundations quiz than program B based entirely on the differences in what program A has decided to do with their questions in EM Koja foundations. So it's customized specifically to you. And I realize I've spent probably a good minute and a half just harping on that, but I think it makes a big difference to be able to customize to your program's needs instead of just giving you a canned assignment. So let's, I believe we selected, good, we selected Virginia. We're going to do questions, textbook, and lectures. And we're going to go ahead and make it assigned now to her. And let's flip back to Virginia's view and refresh this page. And now you can see the assignment that is open. So here's what she gets. Instead of having to jump around and go to different places, she can see all the textbook assignments that are part of that particular foundations unit. And here are the questions that she's expected to answer. Because it's inside of an assignment, that also means when you make foundations assignments and incorporate foundations into your program, that all of this is downloadable in the assignment summary. So you can make sure that people have actually done their foundations assignment. So those are the 3 ways of making an assignment. And with that, what questions can I answer? How can I help clarify what EM Coach can do for you?
So there is a question in the chat from Tim Fallon. Is this functionality with foundations designed so that you can assign the pre-session materials through EM Coach and then match them to the small group sessions provided by foundations? I'm trying to figure out why we want to pair foundations. Thanks.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. And yes, 100%, exactly right. So if you match the foundations 1, GI 1, and then do those small group sessions, that will match. Our content is the pre-session materials for that unit.
Tim, did you have a follow-up? Sorry. Who was that? Go ahead.
All right. Sorry, this is Scarlett Benson. I'm at Aventura in Florida. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
It was actually a follow-up question to that, and then I had a second question. So along those lines, does MCoach basically provide enough material that we could stop using foundations, or are they complementary and you would recommend that if we were going to continue using MCoach foundations that we should stick with Rosh as well?
We have more than enough material. So this is an example of that foundations assignment. There are, well, here are the readings, just as a random example that I picked. The caveat that I would say for that is that this is a board review course. And so it is not intended, the textbook is not intended to replace that fundamental knowledge that you're going to get from reading through Rosen's chapters or Tintinalli chapters or such. So That said, the lectures are, I mean, we hit every topic, but there's a certain amount of expected knowledge for you to have. That said, these foundations assignments, we cover everything, and they still would take, this is what, 1 minute, easily an hour and a half probably, or 2 hours worth of assignment just in this to cover all the material. So yes, you can use our content instead of going to, because the beauty of foundations is you can use any of the FOMED out there and the various resources they have, and ours is just another option. And we're listed as well as one of the options when you look through the chart. They have us listed as well.
There is another question from Amy Wyatt. Can you split the foundations assignment so that the test isn't assigned until after the in-person time? The quote, in person is in quotes.
You mean, can you customize when it starts and stops?
Amy, do you want to unmute or follow up in the chat?
Yes. Sorry, there's kids in the background, so I apologize
right.
if they come up. But yeah, so normally when we do the foundations assignments, they do pre-reading, and then we do the cases during conference, and then they have the sort of quiz or whatever assigned afterwards to see, like, did they get all the material they were supposed to get out of those prior two sections. So can you split that in the assignment easily?
You can by doing 2 different assignments. So what I would recommend is you pick the start date and time you want pre-conference, clicking your foundations, select the unit, and then just uncheck questions, and then make that one assignment, and then you make another assignment with just the questions.
Okay.
This is Andrew Ehrlich from Beaumont, Farmington Hills in Michigan. I have a question regarding the route that you have on the screen right now. I did try to do some questions for specific individuals. I went under the EM Coach AI powered, and at least from what I recall with those few times, I wasn't able to pick the number of questions, and I ended up doing a custom build, which I agree does take a lot of time. So is there a way to choose any amount of questions that you want to assign to a single individual?
For the coach specifically, no, it's designed to be a one-click feature, but I will add that. Let me make a note now.
I believe was it
it's
30?
not hard to add.
I don't know if it was 20, 25. It wasn't enough for the person, or it was perhaps too much. I can't remember, but I ended the foundations I've tried with my group and stuff, but this was just some remedial stuff. And so I was trying to obviously make it the easiest for me, but the custom build does take a lot of time, although it allowed me to customize.
Yeah, we can certainly change. One of the reasons that the questions are set for the AI is that part of the algorithm is building out a preferential number of questions for the worst topic, second worst topic, third worst topic, and then the spaced repetition for the other topics. And so it is designed to have a delivery of 15 questions, 1 textbook reading, and 1 lecture for every coach assignment, designed to be about 20 to 30 minutes, depending on a particular topic and how long someone wants to go back through the questions. So that largely is why the total number of questions is not at the moment editable. But let me look into how we can do that and adjust the algorithm in a way that still ensures the spaced repetition that is important for them as well.
I think it would be helpful because I tried it before, but sometimes I just simply had sent the questions rather than the textbook and lecture. They still can access that and look at it, correct? But I kind of sent it just as a test.
Got it. Yes. And well, and the textbook and lectures that they'd be accessing can do so very easily by clicking on the C-related textbook and C-related lecture at the bottom of every one of those questions.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Things you'd like to see in the future? Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Tim Fallon at MainMed. This looks great. I have not had an opportunity to get in and look at it before. I was wondering if you could just speak a little. You talked a little bit about the text, but like, where's the content for the lectures coming from? How have you how have you found speakers? How have you approached creating all this content? Because it's gonna be new content that I probably won't read it all before potentially assigning it.
Of course. So we require every word on here has been written and edited by someone who is ABEM or AOBEM boarded. We don't have any contributions from residents or NPs or PAs or others. Everyone, we figure if we're trying to prepare people to pass the boards, everyone contributing to this needs to pass the boards as well. And you'll recognize a lot of the people. Most people did a combination. They do the lecture and they wrote the textbook section. And just as an example here, you'll recognize a lot of these folks. Sarah Stamer gave a talk. Tyson Pillow gave, I think, a couple talks. Megan Fix gave a talk. So these are all people you've seen. Molly Estes, she just ran the ACOEP. Their scientific assembly just ran that for them. So these are all nationally recognized speakers. I don't know if that fully answers
Yeah,
it, but yes, we
no, that's
designed all
great.
this.
Yeah, that's great. And certainly I'll take a, it'll be helpful to have that test account to be able to take a look at it too. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
Actually, I missed that, Andrew. Sorry, it's Scarlett Benson at Aventura
Sure.
again. Can you show how to go back to the test account from the director home, and also how you can get access into specific learners' homes?
Yes.
Thank
So
you.
you wanted the test account information as the playground account information?
Yeah, the playground account, and then when you're an instructor and you're in the instructor home, how you can look at one specific resident's progress rather than just the groups.
Sure. So I'm setting again. Here it is in the chat. And then that's right, we didn't even look at how you look at all the stats. And this is going to change drastically. This table I'm about to show you is going to be completely redone. We've started coding it. I'm not at a place where I can show everybody yet, but this is, I readily admit, not the table that I want you to have. And we're going to have something that's very interactive and helpful. But for the time being, the next couple months, you can see the mean for an individual, total questions done, and then to see what they see, you can jump into just by clicking on their name, and that is what they see. So that's how you can dive into an individual.
All right, does anybody else have any questions or, like I said, feedback or things you'd like to see in the future from EM Coach and their developers? Clearly they are working at warp speed to make sure everything is updated and new and fresh and informative. So if you have any questions, now's the time to ask. You could always email Andrew. Andrew, do you want to put in the chat
Yeah, let me do that.
address to reach you out and just kind of say it over the video so people have it in the recording?
Oh, certainly. So you can email me at aphillips, APHILLIPS at emcoach.org. You can also always just shoot us an email here at the support@emcoach.org address. And those come to me if they're relevant. If you want to reach me, you can always reach me through that address. I'd love to hear if you have more questions, please speak up. But otherwise, I'd love to hear how you guys are currently using these. Because a lot of programs are, one of the beauties of this is that it is very flexible. People use this some for foundation, some people use this in preparation for their regular series on fundamental information. Some people use this for their remedial learning plans. So if there are any particular uses you found this great for, or some extra feature that make it better for that use, we're making feature and content improvements every 2.5 to 3 months as a new launch. So more things that you would like to see from this, I'd love to hear so we can make that happen for you. Don't everybody speak at once. Oh, okay. Well, you can always reach me at that email address, either of those. And I guess if there's nothing else, any last questions?
There is one in the chat from Marion. She says, how many questions total are there in the bank?
2,000.
And how often are questions added frequently, how are new questions added or removed if they're found to be no longer relevant, or how do you guys do that?
Absolutely. So we upload questions usually in batches of 50 to 100 every 2 to 3 months, and we do internals on them, and so we'll edit them. We've not had to. We've been able to edit questions. They go through a pretty extensive editing process before they're even published, so we haven't had to take any out of circulation. We always have an eye out just in case, of course, but we've been able to edit them and adjust. The fundamental questions have been sufficient to be able to make changes as necessary. But yeah, we run, your point by serial correlation and then your item discrimination. And of course, if residents write in with feedback, we'll take an extra look at a question to make sure that it's not ambiguous and such. So yeah, you can anticipate more questions in the future. We are going to be shifting 2,000 questions is what the contract with Cord is through your license. And so as we look to the future with adding more questions and such, keep an eye out for that changing or having an extra package available.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrew. And thank you for everybody attending. Oh, Tim's got a question. Greg.
Sorry, I was just looking at pricing and I'm not sure that I have it right. Is there a standard pricing? I know there was a early price and then it might be changing, but is there standard pricing for program or per resident?
Per program, $500 flat rate. It doesn't matter how many residents you have.
And that's like what you see moving into the future. That I thought it was a great price, but I thought that maybe that was like the early adopters price.
That is, well, it's what makes this, one of the things makes it a fantastic Cord benefit. There was an introductory $250 price the first year, and $500 is the official price from Cord, and you buy it through Cord, not through our website.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Scarlett in the chat said, thank you. We'll likely have questions once I've had time to play with the site a little bit more. So
Actually, do you mind, Tina, sharing the link? I'm just trying to find it now. The link for people to sign up on the Cord website.
Yeah.
Please. Thanks.
Absolutely. There you go. www.cordem.org/emcoach. And it'll take you right to the website. And if you have any questions, you could always email us at cordem.org. And we can help you get registered and figure out everything. One great tip to know is make sure if you're purchasing EM Coach, you do it under your organization's account and not your own personal account. Sometimes that can get a little fishy. It's fine. We eventually will have to move it over. But if you have any questions or if you're hesitant, just email the office and we'll get it all squared away for you. So we take payment over the phone. You can mail in a check. Either way, we take all forms of payment. So thank you, Andrew, for giving us a tutorial. And again, if anybody has any questions, please email him. They are very quick to respond. I think that it's like within the same hour, typically, they'll respond to your questions and definitely give them feedback. This is how the programs learn and grow and develop and give you, the user, the needs that you want to see and for your residents to learn and what they need to succeed as well. So, all right, Andrew, thank you so much. And I hope everybody has a great week and a safe week. And we will see you soon. And this will be posted on the Cord website and our YouTube channel, hopefully tomorrow.
Thank you everyone for attending. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.